We head now to our coverage of Capitol Hill. Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer has kept the government shut down. Meanwhile, House Republicans are moving about the country. They haven't returned to D.C. to negotiate ancillary policy matters, instead demanding that Schumer pass a continuing resolution first. That resolution would simply advance the monetary levels and spending and policy negotiated by Joe Biden. So it's not like it's some massive win for cost cutters. We wanted to check in on how some of the most conservative members of the House are thinking about the current state of play. Joining us now, an outstanding congressman from Texas, Keith Self. Congressman, bring us up to speed. Was there any talk of a deal over the weekend or anything that would end this shutdown?
Absolutely not, Matt. Not that I know of. If they're cutting a backroom deal, I wouldn't know it, but not that I know of, and I certainly hope not. We passed what is essentially a Democrat CR, Biden policies, Biden's spending 2 years ago in order to keep spending flat. Let's hold the line. Let's stay where we are.
Do you think Republicans will have to do something on health care to get out of this? There are some voices within the caucus suggesting that. I worry that it rewards hostage taking, but what do you think?
Oh, that's exactly right. And I will tell you, President Trump is staying solid, and the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, is holding solid. Now, that gives a lot of cover to the leader in the Senate, Majority Leader, and the Speaker of the House. So I am fairly confident for the time being they're going to hold fast.
We're very worried about aviation safety, seeing these reports of air traffic controllers not showing up to work. If this thing goes on for weeks more, what are some of your worries when it comes to safety and security of the American people?
They're calling for ground stops, ground delays. In fact, we just heard that DFW, the one that I fly in and out of, just had a ground delay. So the FAA is being very careful to stop it when they fall below a manning level. But yeah, you remember the Democrat aide that said they're not going to budge until planes start falling out of the air. So I don't want that to happen. We don't need to get to that. Public safety ought to be number one, and we need to get the air traffic controllers back on the job, whether it's a standalone bill or whether we solve this shutdown.
You mentioned standalone bills. I wonder, Congressman, would it be better to have the House back in session, passing a bill for the air traffic controllers, passing a bill to fund our troops, passing a bill on the border, showing some action to put pressure on the Democrats? Because it seems, based on my conversations, that the Speaker is going to have you guys out of Washington until Schumer ultimately folds.
Well, we are standing with the Speaker on his decision, but you're right. That was a decision made by the leadership that's what we're going to do in order to put pressure on the Democrats. Your solution, the one that you just mentioned, would also be a solution, but it's not the one the leadership has chosen. So right now we're standing with the leadership, but I love to put pressure on the Democrats any way we can, whether it's staying out or going back and passing a bill every day. I want to exert the most pressure I can on the Democrats.
I think one thing that is likely to put pressure on Democrats is the realization that 42 million people may be about to go without SNAP benefits. That will get the phone calls coming into a lot of constituent service offices. But one thing that also I've observed is that I can't find a single poll where the people are appropriately blaming the Democrats for having done this. We've got a Quinnipiac poll that shows more folks actually blaming Republicans than Democrats. Do you think, Congressman, that the current plan to stay out has worked? And if more folks are blaming Republicans now, how can we get the message out that this was a decision of Chuck Schumer's?
Well, frankly, I don't really watch nationwide polls because we are districts. And until the purple districts start saying something, because my district, all I get feedback from my base is that hold the line. But once we start seeing the purple districts, polls from the purple districts, then I might start paying attention to them. Because as you know, the big blue cities in red states control everything. So one, I don't trust those polls. And two, the leadership has got their pulse, their finger on this pulse. So for the time being, and I think, Matt, the pressure is going to ramp up this week because of what you just said. SNAP, but why do we have 41 million people food stamps, on supplemental nutrition assistance program. 41 million people, that's 12% of our population. Why is that? Given the obesity in America, 12% of our population is on food stamps, SNAP. Why is that?
I think that's because in a lot of blue states, they've just blown out the eligibility. I think in a lot of red states, the goal has been to get folks off of SNAP. And then in blue states, they want to get the maximum federal drawdown. And so they want maximum enrollment. And thus, this is what you get, which really brings me to my next question, Congressman. I know you're one of the members who wants to put the most downward pressure on federal spending in the entire body. If you could give Russ vote advice right now in the administration, where would you direct him to try to make some meaningful cuts to at least see some silver lining out of the Schumer shutdown?
Well, if he wants to move forward as quickly as possible, he needs to be doing those RIFs now. We need to turn Russ' vote loose to start doing those RIFs, because that's tremendous pressure on the Democrats. Look, they've already lost part of their base with the federal union that announced today. And they can say all day long that that was not targeted at any party, but it was, because they want them to pass this clean CR. So if I were talking to Russ, I'd say, let's get a move on downsizing the federal government workforce.
Congressman Keith Self with wise words, and I think some good strategic decisions ahead. We appreciate you coming on the program and sharing your viewpoint.
Thank you, Matt.